Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Brewnomics interview series at the lounge at the end of the universe. I'm Jerry.
I'm Paula.
And today, our special guest
is Gig Ledbetter from Meriwether Cider. I'm the head cider maker and one of the owners. The rest of the owners are my family, all women. So I really don't have much to say. So when it comes to the business, they boss me around. Anyways.
Hey, sometimes that's good to have. We'll see if they watch this or not. Well, before we get too far into it, I'm excited to see where this goes. And yeah, it's a beer podcast, but we're not drinking beer today. We're drinking hard cider. You heard that right. What's up for us first?
Well, I brought in a strong arm semi-sweet. So this is a cider that is really what people think of traditionally as a hard cider. It's all apple. No additions of any kind. It's got a very appley flavor, about 6.9% ABV, 6.9% alcohol. Yeah, nice after flavor as well. Yeah, I like it.
Right off the bat, I would recommend if you have children to put this out of reach because it is delicious and it does not taste like there is any alcohol in this. It's crisp. Exactly. Start over.
Agreed.
That's when you get a clean, crisp taste. Apparently, it's crisp. Yeah. Refined. It's very smooth. I dig this a lot. I'm excited because we'll have ciders occasionally on the podcast, not too often, but Meriwether is a one we try to profile. I think it's even actually been the only cider we've ever had as part of like our Idaho profile. Yep. I tapped that segment. Spoiler alert, it got tapped. Yeah.
We did.
So this is your traditional, straight up old school hard apple cider.
Yeah. We do have another one. It's a semi-dry. It's Foothill semi-dry, and every Sunday when you get a pint, $1 is contributed to the trail system up in the foothills.
Excellent.
So, yeah. Oh. Yeah, and so, but that's a bit drier. Something that you might find, some of the dry ciders out of England and things like that. It's also probably one of my favorites. But this is a traditional cider that you would think a cider ought to taste like. A lot of appley flavor.
Mm-hmm. It is, but it tastes so natural, too. Yeah. There's nothing industrial about this. It definitely seems kind of like fresh and small batch.
Yeah. And, it says semi-sweet, and you think, oh, my God, it's going to be a sweet, sweet cider. It's really not. It's on the low end of the scale for sweetness of semi-sweit. And so I like it. I'll drink it every now and again.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. But no, semi-sweet is appropriate. It's got a little bit of sweetness to it, but I definitely would not consider it overly sweet. What sort of apples do you use for this?
So we source most of our apples. They're all Northwest, and they come from Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. And they go to a place. I actually toured a couple of the different apple juice producing plants, and it's called Fruit Smart out of Prosser, Washington. And it's got Fuji, Red Delicious, and Yellow Delicious, only to bring in the sugar.
Okay.
And then it also has a Jonathan, and there's one more, Granny Smith.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and the Granny Smith gives that acid tartness, that I like to work with to balance my cider.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, when I took my first drink, it seemed like I had just been into a Granny Smith. I really like that because that's my favorite apple.
Yeah.
Is it really? I didn't know that was anybody's favorite apple.
Yeah. I love tart.
Yeah.
So it's probably one of my favorites.
Huh.
As well.
I'm definitely a Red Delicious or like a
honey crisp.
Honey crisp.
Like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Also, didn't realize how many different types of apples there were. Oh. I lived in this neighborhood for a little bit, and all the street names were after apples. And I started like doing research, and I was like, "Good God!
Yeah,
there's so many types of apples."
Yeah, yeah. And you get into cider apples, and that's a whole nother ball game. Cider apples, I mean, Foxwhelp is, one of the names of an apple. Kingston Blacks. Yeah, so.
Is that from Jamaica?
Yeah. Well, the apple originated in Kazakhstan. And so all apples really eventually, came from Kazakhstan, somewhere down the way. Of all places, right? Yeah.
Some neat history.
Thunk it.
Yeah.
All right, so what'd you do before Meriwether?
Well, let's see. Graduated from college and swore I'd never go back to school. So I got in my Jeep, and the day after graduation, left for Alaska. The last frontier. Was going to work there the summer, and ended up staying for 13 years. And while I was there, I guided on Denali. I was a smoke jumper out of Fairbanks, Alaska, and did a little bit of building, house building, and anyways, I loved it. Yeah, I loved Alaska. And then eventually met my wife there, and we were on I don't know if I should go into this. Anyways, I finally decided that she was okay when she paddled for 24 hours straight on a river to get back. We were salmon fishing together in a canoe going down this river, and for 24 hours in the rain, and she never complained once. And I thought, oh yeah, that's the woman I want to marry. So anyways, okay, yeah. I eventually decided to leave Alaska and go back to graduate school. And while I was in Alaska, of course, I did a lot of rock climbing, did a lot of expedition climbing, went to Missoula, Montana for my graduate work. And then I did my doctorate at the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque. And that, my research specialty was high altitude physiology, just because of climbing Denali and being up at altitude quite a bit. And anyways, got my degree, got a job at a university, Colorado Mesa University in Grand Junction, Colorado. And I've always been brewing beer since college. And I kept doing it. But then when I moved to Grand Junction, they had grapes and they had apples. And so, while I love chemistry, so I like to control that fermentation process, and started doing cider and wine. And I think my cider got good enough so that I could, had a lot of recipes. And when I finally retired from teaching, it was my wife again. It's like, you need something to do. And let's go to Boise where the kids are. My two daughters went to College of Idaho, Kate and Molly. And we decided to get them. They were also firefighters. One was a heli-repeller, repelling out of helicopters into the fire. The other was a hot shot, initial attack fire on that front fire line. And we wanted to get them out of the fire with the change in fire behavior and climate, and they joined our business. So I get to work with my two daughters every day. It's just a great thing. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't expect to be so outmanned on this
I
one.
know, right? Yeah, his daughters sound tough, dude.
Right?
Don't mess with my daughter. I'll
Yeah,
tell you what. I remember I was sitting at a bar at, where the heck was it? Somewhere, anyways, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I see Kate coming in with a keg over her shoulder, big old keg, and the bartender looks up and he goes, "Oh my God, that's the woman I want to marry." Keg over her shoulder. Anyways, yeah. All right. Yeah.
All right, so where's the name Meriwether come from? Tell us a little bit about the name, the history, where we can, if we want to go get a Meriwether cider.
Well, Meriwether, of course, everyone knows Meriwether Lewis and the Lewis and Clark expedition. And my wife is actually related to Meriwether Lewis.
No way.
And so we decided, let's do it, and they came up through Idaho, and here we are, and there they were, and and if you ever want to go and see the amazing mural that my older daughter Kate drew at Bannock and Ninth. That's one of the places that we have a little pub. She drew that on the wall, shows the whole expedition route all the way up from St. Louis and to the coast. Yeah, but yeah, my wife's related to Meriwether Lewis, so. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I wonder if you were actually to ask how many Americans know the first names of Lewis and Clark. I bet not that many people would know.
Yeah, probably not.
Not anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Bob.
I guess that makes damn good sense as to why it would be Meriwether cider. Man, that is it. And also, genetically, if you're part of Lewis and Clark and they made it across the country in a wagon, you can't really complain about canoeing up a river in the rain, huh?
Yeah.
You're just genetically
that's
a
right,
badass.
Yeah, yeah. And our motto is to adventures big and small. So, and our whole family has really been into the wilderness and camping and hiking and doing those kinds of things and outdoor activities and good guardians of the earth. And so it was perfect. We thought it was perfect. Yeah.
I like that.
Well, can you tell us a bit more about working with your family?
Oh man.
You know, just hanging out with the ladies. I heard they boss you around a lot.
They do.
All right.
Yeah, yeah, they boss me around, and you know what? I take it all, because most of the time they're right, unless I do the technical chemistry side of the cider. I've got a decent palate. Kate and Molly both have a really good palate. I won't talk about my wife's palate right now, but they're fantastic. And so, I'll make 3 or 4 varieties of a new flavor that we might be doing, and I'll get their feedback. Dad, a little too tart. You don't have that balance quite well. Maybe you need a little bit more of this or that. And so they are just fantastic with regard to that. We each have our job to do, and so we don't really step on each other's toes. And so there's never really much of an argument in any of us. It's just fantastic. I hate to say it sounds like it's so perfect, but I just love it. I'm just so glad that I can see them almost every day and work with them, and we have meetings every week. So it's a good deal.
It's the dream.
It's
a good dream, right?
It's the dream. Yeah. I've got a good dream going.
Well, and that's pretty awesome that you're able to identify each other's talents and, utilize those kind of separately without having the old too many chefs in the kitchen analogy, I guess is what it were.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's awesome. That that actually makes a lot of sense as to why you guys have been able to be so successful.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've learned a fair amount about brewing, what it takes to brew a beer on this one, even kombucha, but never really cider. So since you've kind of done the gamut there, I don't know if you've ever done kombucha, but beer, wine, and cider, specifically interested in the beer, what are kind of the similarities between making a cider and the differences between making a cider versus a beer?
A beer? Well, we are actually under a wine permit. And when you say brew, that means you heat something up. We don't heat anything up, just like wineries. Wineries, they get their juice and they ferment it. And because you don't have the wort, you're not boiling anything and killing bacteria and so forth, you have to be really, really careful about sanitation. And we have to, just like wineries, have to be very, very careful about sanitation. So where obviously cider is apple juice that is fermented down. Apple juice has very little nutrients, where beer from the barley, or maybe you're doing wheat, has fantastic nutrients, and the yeast doesn't really need any additional nutrients. It's just happy as can be from converting those sugars in that wort into a beer. And also, beer has a lot of non-fermentable sugars, so that at the end of the ferment, it never gets down, very rarely gets down to 0, where it's used up all the sugar in that wort. But in cider, all the sugars that are in cider, will eat every single bit of that sugar that's in that cider. But you also have to add additional nutrients, trace elements. Mostly, a lot of nitrogen is needed to keep the yeast happy. If you don't keep the yeast happy, it is going to have a little egg smell, rotten egg smell. It might be, if you can imagine a cowboy, riding the range all day in 95-degree temperatures, wearing leather chaps, and then coming home, and then you smell his crotch or something. Okay? That is what I call cowboy crotch smell.
Wish I could say I haven't been there.
You can but you can get those kind of manure, leathery, smells from a poor, nutrient-rich apple juice. So, yeah, isn't that funky? But
I'm not
yeah,
going to be able to get that image out.
yeah. I know. It's. I made that up, but
I love it.
that is what it. I swear, that's what it tastes like to me, because I have made some bad ones. A couple bad ones until I really learned my lesson.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
So you have to have a wine license or permit or
Yeah.
whatever. Okay.
It's a wine license, and we don't. But because we have culinary apples, in other words, we have apples that you can just eat. We don't have true cider apples here yet in enough quantity that I can get a hold of them. Where they have a lot of tannins in them, like grapes have a lot of tannins, and so that's why they have to age that to mellow those tannins out. Well, with culinary apples, they're just sweet and delicious, and aging's not going to do a darn thing to them. So we can ferment our cider, make it, and drink it the next day. And it's going to taste the same as if we aged it for a year.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there's no real improvement in the flavor of the cider. But so that's the difference between the wine and the cider. And the beer, we don't boil anything. There's no boiling. I'll talk about when we get to it, I'll talk about my hop cider and how we bring out that aroma and the flavor of the hops in a cider. The next one that we're going to be drinking is a base cider. And the base cider is just the apple juice fermented down, and then we back sweeten or back flavor with certain things. But yeah, I don't know if you want to get into that one now. Is that on your agenda? Or?
Might as well. I think
You-
is
you
this
boo.
the gin and juice?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
Okay, so this is the gin and juice. So I got this from my friend that was in our brew club in Grand Junction, Colorado, and he runs a distillery. And so I got his recipe for how he instills flavor into his gin at the distillery. And I took that recipe and I modified it quite a bit because he had a lot more juniper in than I wanted in my cider. So, and I just, like in beer where they dry hop, they take the hops and put it in a mesh bag or whatever and let it just sit for, and you get the flavor and the aroma out of that. Well, I do that with this. I just put it in the cider in bags. I'm not going to give you my entire recipe, but there is juniper, angelica root, orris root, a little cinnamon, licorice root. Yeah. So, and you can taste that in there. But it's, it's a real different, and the base is all cider. It's all fermented apple juice, very, very little of anything else. It's got an amazing aroma, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
It smells like smells like walking into your grandma's house at Christmas. She's making that apple pie, a little cinnamon in there, just warms up the whole house. Beautiful, welcoming smell.
Yeah.
That's what we get out of this.
Yeah, very dry drink. It could almost be a cocktail. Maybe, throw a little vodka in there or something.
There
I
you
don't know.
go. There you go. Spice it up a little bit. No, I like that. Is this one also coming in at 6.9%.
That's also a 6.9. Yep. Yep.
Okay. Okay. All right. We will be right back. Hold on. Okay, so like there's, I'm also getting a hint of spice to this,
Yeah.
not caliente spice,
Yeah.
and a nice little
Right.
floral spice. What's that about?
Well, it's got 11 different
Herbs and spices.
herbs and spices in here. And the juniper is probably the most predominant, and there is a licorice root. It almost gives it, if you wait for the aftertaste, there's a little earthiness to this drink that I really like.
Yes.
But I also like, Lefroy Scotch, which is like, like major smoky and peaty and I could eat just a handful of peat.
Yeah, that one, Lefroy's a bit much for me.
Yeah.
The other one here, our friend Vic, every time it's like his birthday, we'll usually go in because it's a little bit more expensive and get him some Lagavulin scotch on there.
Oh, you bet.
And that one's one.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's good scotch.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like scotch.
Well, on the Isle of Islay, where Lagavulin and Lefroy and all the others, of the 10 distilleries there, 9 of them are in the, 8 of them are in the top 10 in the world, just on that island.
That's amazing.
I know. It's crazy.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, man, this one's making me a little burpy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But everything does.
Gets you a little bit.
Yeah, you get to taste it twice. Yeah. Come on.
And it's always good.
Tastes better the second time around, huh? Yeah.
All right, so also while we're moving on here,
Okay.
apparently it seems like there are a lot of lines between beverages have been blurred lately, between ciders, lemonades, shandies, spritzers,
Yeah.
spritzers, lambics, etc. What separates a cider, and in my opinion, why is that still the go-to out of all those?
Okay. So to be considered a cider, you've got to have your base a fermented apple juice. That's it. Everything else, from seltzers to spritzers, you might be, back flavoring it with a some vodka tincture that gives it the flavor, or the beer might be, mixing a grapefruit, some kind of grapefruit flavor with the beer. But cider, to be considered cider, it has got to have the base as fermented apple juice.
Okay.
And when we say cider, it is fermented. If you're going to talk apple juice, you've got to say apple juice. If you say, yeah, I had a cider, then it's a hard cider.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's fermented. So anyways, yeah.
That's interesting. And I guess I should mention this before. The first cider that we tried, the semi-sweet,
Yeah.
I could have probably just straight chugged that one.
Oh, yeah.
This one I don't feel like chugging. It definitely
No.
seems a little bit more just
Yeah.
slow sip and enjoy it.
Yeah, it's almost cocktail-like.
Yeah.
Where
Like-
so if you want to quench your thirst and have a couple pints fast, go for the semi-dry or the semi-sweet, just plain apple, all apple cider. If you want to just sit and you're sitting with a nice gal or something, and you get a pint of this, and it'll last 45 minutes, where the other two would have lasted a half an hour.
And then you're going to start to look
You
a fool.
spend more time with her, Yeah, so, but yeah, it is. It's a very
So this is
slow
when you want to
sipping.
class it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I sometimes when I first tasted that, I thought, did I? And then I finished and I thought, did I just have a gin and tonic? Did I just have a taste of a gin and tonic, or whatever? So, but yeah, I like that cider.
No, it's very good.
Yeah.
It is very
it's
good.
different.
But
It's so different.
I noticed, and it's like I said, I'm drinking it a lot slower than the other one, and mostly, again, not that I couldn't chug this because I can chug anything, but like every time you sip it, you kind of just like want to sit there and take in
Yeah.
all the complexities it has to offer.
Yeah. Too bad we do everything in bottles, so you can't shoot any of our ciders.
That's true.
Yeah, too bad. Oh,
That
well.
would be that would be difficult, especially with that skinny neck.
Yeah. You bite that off. Yeah.
Did you
I
guys
know.
recently change the types of bottles you use from
We
the
did.
traditional bomber?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yeah, and the reason was that the company in that we were getting it from before, it was from the UK and Germany actually, because they're the only bottles that could handle our pasteurization process, the temperatures. Otherwise, a lot of the Chinese bottles that we got to start with, made in China, were breaking in the pasteurizer. Couldn't handle 140 degree heat for 35 minutes. So, and all the ones that we got from the Germany, UK, they were fantastic. They didn't break in the pasteurizer. They didn't, break on the bottling line. And then that company went belly up. And so we ended up getting these bottles out of Quebec.
Okay.
And so they've been fantastic on the bottling line.
Well,
So-
what I like about it is it stands out, because if you're looking at, like, say, you're at a your Albertsons or Co-op or whatever, and you see bomber, this is going to have a little bit different shape,
Yeah.
which is I think automatically going to kind of draw the eye to it. So
Yeah.
I think it's smart marketing personally.
yeah.
But I did notice that, and I wonder, that makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense. Cool.
Yeah.
So far, with our last cider, the gin and juice, I love that mouthfeel, man. Just the
know.
pucker right here, the back of my cheek, and
Yeah.
just like the bottom of my tongue.
And you can still feel it after,
Most
a
definitely.
few minutes. You still have that nice flavor in your mouth. I love that.
But it's a pleasant one, because there's
Yeah.
sometimes where you get it where it's like lingering, and you're
Yeah.
like, just give me some water, give me something
Yeah.
to flush this through.
Yeah.
This is a very pleasant
Yeah.
stay there.
Yeah.
Doesn't overstay its welcome, but it does stay for a nice conversation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It
Now-
gives you a good breath.
It does.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
great way to put it. Now, are
Like a
there any
mouthwash.
particular fruits that are harder to use than others?
That's a great
Which
question.
one's a big B, man?
That's a great question. And I'll tell you what, our biggest seller is our blackberry cider.
As well it should be. I tell everybody, I was like, I'm not a huge cider fan. If you're going to get cider, you got to get Meriwether. And if you pick one, that blackberry boom, baby.
2-to-1, our biggest seller. But it's a hard one to make, because when we carbonate that, for some reason, the blackberry binds with that CO2 and it is released. And so it's a real tough one to bottle because of the it foams so badly. Whereas we have other fruits that, like we just did one onto the peach, and the peach hardly foams at all. So yeah, fruits do make a difference, and we know which ones cause us trouble in the carbonation process. We carbonate it to the same volume of CO2, but when we get to the bottling line to bottle it, when it's filling, it foams more than others. And yeah, the blackberry's real tough to deal with. Peach is great. But that's a good question. And every time we deal with another fruit, mango's pretty good. There's another bad one I'm trying to think of right now, but I can't think of it. You have to be careful.
You ever tried durian? Durian fruit?
It's that real stinky fruit. The shit
From
has that
Southeast
spiked
Asia?
outer shell with it. Yeah, from
No.
Southeast Asia. It's notoriously one of the stinkiest fruits of all time,
So
but
good,
apparently
though.
it's delicious.
So
Oh
good,
my God.
yeah.
Well, we are so into trying different stuff. And we have something called Kick the Keg every week that people can come in. We do a 6-barrel, so 5 gallons of it's brewer's choice or cider maker's choice, and we make these funky ciders there. And we make some that we know will be really good too. And I don't know, some of the funky ones I like, but we will have to check into that. I need to
Yeah,
see
go to
where
the
you
Asian
get
market,
that?
I was
bro.
gonna say,
Go to
can
the
you
Asian
get-
market. Yeah.
Asian
At the
market
Asian
has
market?
it?
Okay.
Is it something I can crush and press?
I would say closer to like a mango, a real thick, meaty fruit.
Yeah, stringier. Yeah.
Stringier, kind of like a mango.
Does it have a
sort
big
of thing.
seed or anything I have to deal with if I?
I think the seed's in the middle. Am I?
Ah.
So if you can't hear our producer Coral, it comes out in soft chunks, very similar to
Okay.
banana.
And so yeah, I'll have to check that out. So how do you spell that?
I think it's D-U-R-I-A-N,
phonetically.
just
As
like
it sounds.
phonetically, as it sounds,
Okay.
yeah. What about like
yeah.
a boysenberry or a marionberry? Have you guys done anything with that?
Yeah, we've done like a black currant.
Okay. Oh, okay.
We
Sounds
do
like a superhero.
huckleberry every year. We forage.
Got to. You're in Idaho,
Oh,
baby.
I know. Oh my God! In Idaho, you kidding me? The first year I made a huckleberry cider, we foraged all these huckleberries, and I made a. I don't mess around. It's going to be like a pound of huckleberries to a gallon of cider. So, if my label says it's huckleberry cider, you better be tasting a lot of huckleberry, right? And so, I made this huckleberry cider, and didn't know about Idaho's thing with huckleberries, and a half an hour before we were going to open for the huckleberry cider that was being released that day, there was a line out the door that was 50 meters long, and it was crazy. It was gone in a half barrel, so 15.5 gallons the first year I made it. It was gone in less than 2 hours.
Wow.
I mean, that's 140 pints.
That's amazing.
I know. Well, the Idahoans are crazy.
It's
They're
true.
and it's a good crazy.
It is a good
It's
crazy.
a good crazy.
Yeah, pardon
It-
my language.
yeah,
When it comes to Idaho, we don't fuck around with
No.
our huckleberry.
No, no. Huckleberries are it.
It really is. It's
Yeah.
the real deal,
Yeah,
man.
it is the real
That's
deal.
amazing. I love
so,
that.
and this year, our huckleberry is probably going to be coming out this week. And it's a little, this time it's a little under a pound a gallon. But it's good. Yeah.
gallon.
We foraged for some huckleberries up in the St. Joe River area, up in northern Idaho. And then my daughter did some in Cascade, got it some in Cascade, and then High Valley. So it's delicious. It's really delicious.
That's
It's
amazing.
pretty good. Yeah.
Next question then.
Yeah.
So, what is a hop cider,
All right.
and what is the heirloom cider?
Okay.
Transitioning nicely into our
That's
next
a hop
beverage.
cider.
This is a hop cider.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I'm really
Almost smells like a beer. Almost.
I'm a fairly humble guy. I'm not into bragging type stuff, but
I heard that. By
this-
far the most humblest. Number
But-
one at the top of the humble list.
But this cider, I think I did get that one year. Yeah, but this cider, we entered it into an international competition because I wanted to get some feedback from the judges, and it's the biggest international cider competition in the world, and it won it.
I believe it.
So you are drinking 2019 number one in the world hop cider.
Cheers.
Cheers on that. Yeah.
Indeed.
Okay.
Hell
yeah.
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 And I could tell it. First sip, I'm like, this is my favorite so far.
Yeah.
This is wonderful.
And so it's all dry hopped, so you don't get any of the bitterness. There's because you get that isomerization when you boil the wort and you put your hops in there. That isomerizes those resins in there and releases the bitterness. If you don't boil it, it's just going to release flavor and aroma.
Okay.
And so that's where you get that people that dry hop their beers, you get that wonderful aroma, in the beer. And towards the end of my brewing, I always dry hopped, just because I love the aromas and flavor go so well together. Your taste and
Well, that's one thing that, and I think that's great because a lot of people that don't drink beer, it will be typically because it was traditional hopped. It's not dry hop, so it is bitter. It's danky in all the wrong ways for certain people. I personally love it, but it is a turnoff for a lot of people. And ain't nobody don't like a dry hop.
Yeah.
At least nobody I want to hang out with.
And even if you do the boil and you then dry hop, that dry hop and that aroma does balance out some of that harshness that you might get from a real bitter hop boil. So I really like it. I think we use a Citra and a Cascade hops. in
Oh,
this.
okay.
And I use them at different times. I put them in different times while it's sitting, and probably takes us about 10 days to dry hop a cider.
I think if you gave me some guesses, I probably could have guessed Citra. I don't know
Yeah,
about
you
the
would have guessed
Cascade, though,
Citra.
but I think
Yeah.
I'd have guessed the
Yeah.
Citra for
Yeah.
sure.
This-
Very distinct.
Yeah, we use a
flavor.
little bit more Citra than we do the Cascade. The Cascade I put in last, only the last 2 days of it, and that lends a little bit of aroma and yeah, to it. So
This tastes like work's gonna suck tomorrow.
yeah.
So far 3 for 3. We are 6.9, 6.9, and 6.9 giggity. Is there any reason behind that where we all just happen to be at that nice 6.9%?
Well, it just so happens that when we get our apple juice, it's at a sugar content when it is fermented all the way down, it comes to about 6.97%. And when we maybe back sweeten with a little something, that dilutes it a little bit and then brings it down into that 6.9 area. And it just so happens that the higher tax, that you have to pay on your cider is 7% or more. Isn't that funny?
That is so weird.
How that happens.
So,
But it's just
convenient.
that it's good. Yeah, the apple trees are on our side.
There we go.
You
huh?
know, yeah. So I like that.
I wonder who made that decision. Like, nope, 7%. You got to tax it
Yeah,
more.
yeah. And then there's a champagne
stupid.
tax over a certain. When you get even higher than that, then it's even more. But I'm not gonna. It's okay. It's yeah. The next cider that we're probably gonna drink we're in the higher tax.
All right, now we're
Tax
paying a little
group, yeah.
extra for
Fancy.
this
So
one.
yeah. But
I had no
anyways,
idea you'd have to pay a higher tax.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense, right? Does it? I don't know.
No,
Nothing makes
no.
sense to me
I don't know.
anymore.
No.
But
No. Well,
Interesting.
a lot of the alcohol, the laws, with alcohol are so antiquated.
they really are.
Ah, they're so, they need to update.
They really
you know,
are.
yeah.
Absolutely. So I just thought of this one. So I also learned on this podcast a few interviews ago. Apparently, you can only have 2 tap rooms. If you're a brewery, is it the same as a
Same.
cidery or winery
Yep,
or anything
same.
like that?
Yep.
Just 2.
Yeah, just 2. Yeah, unless we go into another state.
That seems kind of anti-capitalist to
Yeah.
me. But
Now, what we could do is we could get another umbrella
okay.
company, I suspect, and just open up a whole nother thing, and then start another. We wouldn't be able to call it Meriwether Cider.
What's Clark's first name?
Oh yeah,
Greg? Greg
No.
Cider? I don't know.
maybe it'll be Pocahontas.
There you go,
cider,
Sacagawea.
She was with him, so Sacagawea, yeah, Sacagawea,
There we go.
yeah.
Interesting.
Pocahontas. I can't believe I said that.
We'll edit that out.
Yeah.
So do you guys? So I know you get your apples kind of from all over the Northwest.
Right.
Do you have a straight up Idaho cider?
Oh, yeah, we've done a couple. We have a guy that has a mobile, what does he call it? He goes into orchards and they'll put the apples in his crusher, presser, and it'll just juice right into a tote for the apple juice, and right in the orchard itself. And we buy from him. Let's see. We also do a neighborhood series. This is sort of a kids thing where we will get people from all over Boise to bring their apples in from their backyard. Now,
That's cool.
yeah, cider apples don't have to be, clean, crisp. They can be wormy, whatever, it adds a little protein, no, but not really. But anyways, it's, so what we do is I have a crusher and a presser. And so we'll press this apple juice and the kids will come. And so they'll come and we teach them, you got to wash the apples first and then you can put it in the crusher, and they'll do it, and then they'll come and they'll turn the crank to make the press, press the apples. And we call it the neighborhood crush. And I'll never forget this one little kid. He's like sitting there by the place after the apple juice is all made, and he's got his little. We give him a little cup with their name on it, and he's going, "Hey, Joey, come over here, man. It's free apple juice. We made it." Turning the little crank and getting his little apple juice to drink. And anyways, it's a wonderful, it's a great thing. And we couldn't do it this year because of COVID and, unfortunately, but the kids love it. I love it. It's one of my favorite days at the cidery.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
Hopefully that gets to come back soon.
Yeah.
Is there any, well, I'd say maybe the blackberry one, I think you might have answered that. Is that the most labor-intensive cider you guys make? Or maybe, it's going to be hard to get these ingredients?
No.
Okay.
The blackberry's not so bad. The ones that are really labor-intensive are the ones where we get the actual fruit, and we've got to crush it, and we've got to juice it, and we've got to, even our ginger cider, we've got to peel all the, 14 pounds of ginger, and then we have to juice it all, and then we have to filter that ginger a little bit, so that we don't get so much sediment on the bottom. And but the blackberry's not so bad.
Okay.
That's not so bad. But we do have, some ciders where anytime we have fruit and we have to get rid of the seed, and then we have to grind it and press it and get the juice. That's tender loving care, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everybody in our, from my assistant cider maker, Justin Sims, who's just fantastic. He's always on the same page as me, it seems like. Get along really well. He does a lot of that, and he does a great job with it. But but it's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. So,
well, is there a particularly weird cider you've made?
Oh boy,
some mad scientist cider?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, how about peanut butter and jelly?
Okay.
Never thought of it. So.
Yeah. So I didn't particularly like it, but we had people, because we always do a little taste test with our the people that come into our cidery, and they taste it, and some of them really liked it, but I didn't like it that much.
Describe that peanut butter in there, though.
Well, we got a powdered peanut butter, and we had jam, and I mixed the jam with some vodka, and then put the peanut butter in the vodka, and then filtered it, and got a tincture that tasted like peanut butter and jelly, and then added that to the cider, and that's what it was. We added a little bit of additional apple juice to that to bring up the sweetness, for the peanut butter and jelly, but yeah.
Interesting. That would be a weird one. Till we get that
Yeah.
durian one, that's going to be
I know,
real
I've got to
weird.
try that. I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to that.
Right on.
I'm looking forward to that.
Is the main way, because you said it took you a few mistakes to kind of get your cider process down, was it, when you knew it was bad, was it just immediately the smell?
Oh,
or
yeah.
sometimes were you like, it smells good, and then you taste it, and you're like,
No, smell.
the smell for
oh,
sure?
the smell. Oh,
that
yeah,
cowboy
yeah.
crotch?
Yeah, bad. Or rotten egg,
Or rotten
one
egg.
or the other, yeah. Maybe both.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But anyway.
Well, did the cowboy crotch taste good at least?
Negative.
No, there's not a market out there for people for
Yeah, it
cowboy
wasn't-
crotch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it wasn't good, but
There's
yeah.
something for everybody, man.
Yeah.
And our friend Will would like to know, is a mint cider possible? Sure, anything's possible.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can make a mint tincture.
Okay.
We can take dry mint leaves with vodka and then add that, and it's actually pretty delicious. We've done mint with watermelon.
Ooh, I would like that.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's really good. So, but anyways.
I like a nice watermelon additive. Easy for me to say. So, you've never had a cider. You're
Okay.
intrigued in it. You want to get into hard cider, rather. What would you recommend as how would you, the best way to get into ciders? Because if somebody wants to get into beer, I'm not like, just fucking grab a beer. Excuse me, just frickin' grab a beer. So it's like, man, I want to get into ciders, but some of them kind of make me nervous. Where should I start?
I would say the fruity ciders,
Mm-hmm.
like probably the blackberry. And then you want to go to the straight apple and just say, this is traditional, like the first cider that we had, the strong arm. So,
Okay. And that I would agree. If you
Yeah.
want to try one, that seems like
Yeah.
an absolutely phenomenal one to get
Yeah.
into. So, all right, well, we're going to take a quick restroom break, and we'll be right back.
All right.
We missed you guys. Thanks for waiting. All right. So, well, you know what? That was such a long break, all 3 minutes of it. It's time to drink another one.
We're so parched now.
You didn't bring this one for us, but our wonderful friends here at the Lounge of the Universe have the Blackberry Boom on tap. So, since we did that, I can't see this and not take advantage of it. Look at that color. The difference in that, between that, you can definitely see the blackberry come through. Oh, man. I love this. What's the ABV on this one?
That's also 6.9.
6.9.
Yeah.
I could have guessed, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is a cider that is, probably our best seller.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So
for
it
sure.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily want to beat this one too much to death. Since we did already talk about it, it's just fun to sip it.
Yeah.
So I love it. I tell everybody, if you get a cider, it has to be these guys. But
Yeah.
tell me about this.
Oh, hey.
So that's one thing I love about you guys, and you can always find it. If you guys are like, what is that? It's
Yeah.
a tap handle that also happens to be the end of a hatchet.
That's
a little
correct.
axe there. And
That's
that
right.
is
Yeah.
cool as heck.
And that is my daughter Kate came up with that, and it is pretty amazing. You walk into a pub or a restaurant or something like that, and you look on the bar, and everyone's got these things. All of a sudden, there's this wood, rustic axe handle with a little red on it, and that's our color. It stands out.
It really does.
It definitely
it's so
stands
cool.
out. Yeah.
So I didn't
And-
realize we
Yeah.
had it on tap here until I look over. I'm like, I recognize that handle.
Yeah, and all firefighters know exactly what a Pulaski is, and so as a firefighter, we use, Pulaskis. They're like axes. They've got an axe on one end and then a grubbing side on the a grubbing end, and so Kate came up with that, and it was just brilliant, I think.
Well,
So-
and between the firefighter aspect, the rustic look, it's very Idahoan
Yeah.
as well. We like to be a little outdoorsy.
Yeah.
Plus, who doesn't like to play with a hatchet?
yeah.
No one I want to hang out with.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm embarrassed to admit how many I have at my house. We went camping a few weeks ago, and I'm like, oh, I forgot to get a hatchet. I'll just, pull over and buy
Get
one.
another one. Yeah.
The lady's like, you don't want to just go back? I'm like, nah, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I absolutely love that. I just think it's cool. I love that between the bottles. It's, I think, important to set yourself aside in any industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's just smart marketing. So yeah, I just saw that, and we had to show the people how cool looking that is.
Yeah, yeah. We like it, and I'm the one. I make them, so I make them in big batches at a time, and but yeah, it's a good addition to the.
Do you have
cider.
a CNC machine that you just make them with?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Meriwether cider? I think you've told us that. And do you drink non-Meriwether cider?
Oh yeah. Oh, I got to see what the competition's doing.
Of course.
But there are some fantastic ones out there. Fin River, Schilling. Fin River makes this blackcurrant lavender cider that is to die for. Oh, it's so good. And we know a lot of these guys. We have a big conference we go to, and we meet all these folks, and there's some awesome ciders out there.
Yeah.
And we like to taste them. I'm really into balance, trying to find a balance in my cider, and that's what I look for when I taste other people's ciders. And if it's good, it's like I would never copy Fin River's amazing blackcurrant lavender because I probably couldn't match it. But we can do something else. I mean, we can take maybe a blackcurrant and throw a little orange tincture in there, or get an elderberry and put that with lavender. Something a little more earthy than the blackcurrant. And we've done a little bit of that with our Kick the Keg.
Ain't nothing wrong with drawing some inspiration from that.
Yeah, no, it's great.
So since we're here, actually, I should have mentioned this a little bit sooner. And this will kind of lead us into our follow-up question, not to take away from getting beer or cider directly from you guys. But since Lounge at the End of the Universe, these badasses, they do have the Blackberry Boom and also the Ginger one on here, and they will do growler deliveries. Again, you don't have to come here if you don't want to. It's one of the few places that you can do that. You go to loungeboise.com/shop. I think these growlers here are normally $25, but you use the discount code Brewnomics, and you'll get $5 off of that. So while we're finished with this, I'm just going to do a few more plugs because, hey, it feels so natural right now. The Lounge has been a huge help to us, and, profiling these great businesses within the community. So please help and support these guys. Let's go to the GoFundMe page, project name #SaveTheLounge. If you could donate, share it, watch the videos that they have. They have a lot of great stuff. It's really hard for entertainers to entertain right now. Almost all these event centers are closed, but this is one of the few places where they still have a safe place to come and entertain us, even if it is digitally. Our stand-ups get to keep doing their thing. Musicians get to keep doing their thing, and that, to me, will always be important. So please make sure you do that. I know we're going to have a lot of cool stuff. Stay tuned on the website, loungeboise.com. And then they still got open mic every Wednesday at the Lounge. You just sign up by 7. You start laughing at 8. If you do come down here, just bring your mask and also wear it. Important to do both of those things. And that's pretty much it. So these guys are awesome. Let's make sure we keep it that way.
Woo!
Yeah, that was a mouthful. Well done, sir.
Yeah, well done.
Take a drink.
Ooh, yeah.
So do you guys offer delivery or crowlers to go?
We do have crowlers at our downtown location. That's the 9th and Bannock, little 16-ounce crowlers of all our ciders. And in the early stages of COVID-19, we did deliveries. But once he moved it up, we're now we can do curbside still, but deliveries we haven't done for a little while. Yeah, and we have a pretty big patio at our Garden City place, and we've spread our tables, way out, and so we're being really safe.
Well, good. Good to know.
Yeah, at our place.
Super personal question. What do you have in your fridge right now? Beer, wine, cider.
Let's see.
I hope you don't have any wine in your fridge.
I have
Right? Yeah,
I've got.
Let him say it, though.
Let's see. Talaya, Cinder, and coiled wine. I have. Yeah. Oh man, Rizza.
Your neighbor Dan.
Oh yeah.
City Peanut Shop. Go there also. Ninth is, and Bannock has turned into such a freaking cool. It used to be nothing, and now it's one of the coolest places downtown.
It is a cool
thanks
street.
to places like yourself, Chocolate Bar, City Peanut Shop.
Yeah.
Others.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that kind of growth.
Yeah. No, it's great. And for ciders, I do love my semi-dry cider, and I also have the next cider that we will be tasting is also in my refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
foreshadowing.
yeah. So we'll wait for that one to come out. It's a bourbon barrel aged cider, and then let's see, what do I have for cider, wine? Oh, beer.
Yeah.
Oh, beer. Oh man, I really right now, summertime, hot. I sort of go for a lot of Pilsners. I love the Clairvoyant Pilsner that was out there. Payette has a great Pilsner. Oh man, I'm kind of a beer lover too. So, there's just times. If you can have a pizza, you're not going to drink it with, I shouldn't say this, you shouldn't drink it with cider. You got to drink it with beer.
It's
right?
true, though. It's true.
Isn't it true?
I mean, few things are more of a beautiful American pairing than beer and pizza.
Oh, that's it. I mean, yeah. To do otherwise would, would not. It would be un-American, I think. But anyways, so I also in the winter months I really love Barbarian Brewing's some of their darker beers that they make. And Little Wolf is one of my favorite IPAs there. I think James and Bree, the owners, know every time I come in, they kind of know what I'm going to order. Yeah.
There you go.
So, but anyways, yeah. So I really do enjoy all varieties of different beverages.
Now, is there a particular type of dish that you might want to have with the cider? I'm thinking like a salad for something, like a caprese salad or...
Yeah, cheese is also really fantastic with cider,
Like a
and so
charcuterie
isn't
board?
Ooh, yeah.
charcuterie. Even chocolate is. We've done a lot of chocolate pairings with the chocolate bar, with our cider, and it was just so good. I'm a chocolate lover, so
It's got to be dangerous being that close to the chocolate bar.
Yeah, and and some of the, the blackberry goes great with any kind of a heavy meat dish, like you might have a Malbec or a Cabernet Sauvignon with a heavy duty meat, but you don't want to drink wine. Our blackberry cider would do fantastic with that. As a matter of fact, MFT, a local company here,
Very good.
They make a barbecue sauce out of our blackberry. Yeah.
Need to get my paws on that.
Yeah. And it's
They have the best
good.
ketchup I've ever tasted in my entire life, too.
Oh, yeah.
I usually don't like ketchup, but
Yeah.
there's something about their ketchup I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, it's so natural, so far less sugar and more of the natural ingredient. But yeah, they do a great job. Yeah.
I know they have a barbecue with your blackberry.
Yeah.
I feel like a
Yeah.
GD fool now.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to remedy that.
Yeah. Hey,
That's
yeah,
true.
that's easy to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just gotta pick it up.
Yeah.
Go and pick it up.
All right, well, now we're going to do one of our favorite segments here, which has absolutely nothing to do about anything we've talked so far about. It's just going to be a rapid-fire question.
Okay.
We're going to ask them and just say the first thing that comes to your
Right
head.
on.
Again, this has nothing to do with anything.
Cool.
Just getting a little insight on gig.
Yeah.
You ready for it?
I'm ready.
All right, tie in that belt. Let's go. First question: big party or small gathering?
Small gathering.
I like that. I like that answer a lot. 'Cause
Okay.
I only have like 5 friends. So.
Yeah.
Right now, I'd love a big party, though. I
No
never
doubt.
thought I'd
Yeah,
miss them.
No doubt. I just want to dance the night away. Swimming or sunbathing?
Swimming.
Well done. Phone call or text?
Phone call. Personal.
I'm right there with you, actually. Yeah,
Wow.
you want to hear your buddy. Unless I hate
Yeah.
you, then don't even text me.
Yeah.
Here's a personal question that Jerry loves. Cups in the cupboard, right side up or upside down?
I judge people so hard by this answer.
Wait a minute. What? Say that again.
When you put your cups in your cupboard, are they right side up, like so, or do you actually tip them upside down?
They're right side up.
Huh.
I'm not into fear. I'm not into dust particles getting into
You
my...
want a little bit of that
Yeah,
dust?
It increases your ability for your immune system to, develop some antibodies, and you become stronger immune system. You don't want to be so sterile.
You and your family are so freaking tough, bro.
Oh, that's true. If I pour a beer or something into a glass and I get those like dust particles on the side, I'm like, fucking pour it out.
Oh man, drink it up.
I say it, but I still drink it.
You paid the money. How about nap or workout?
Workout.
I would expect nothing less from
I
you.
was saying, look at the guy.
Exactly.
Come on, he's yoked.
Do you have a preferred streaming service, TV or music?
My wife does all that. I use Pandora for my music, always. Bluegrass, mostly.
Ooh.
And let's see, the streaming service. What does Ann use most of the time? Not Netflix isn't a streaming.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
It is.
Hulu, Netflix.
Yeah, we do quite a bit of Netflix. Yeah,
Right on,
PBS.
right on.
Yeah.
It's just away from the questions, but favorite bluegrass band?
That's exactly. I'm glad you said that because I can say if you're opening a Pandora station, wiped brand new, and you need bluegrass, who you typing into
I
to get
love
that
Ricky
station
Skaggs.
going?
I
Oh,
love Ricky Skaggs.
yeah, baby.
Yeah, he's good stuff.
I like that. There's something to me about bluegrass covers that are the greatest. It's the greatest genre to cover anything.
Yeah.
Just put a little bluegrass flair on it, and I just love it.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Steven Seagulls?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I freaking love those
You know,
guys. They're
there's-
so fun.
Oh, then there's so many of them. Yeah, I mean, I can hardly keep track of them all, but
Oh, was it
Yeah.
Honeywell? Were those? I might be wrong on it, but there's
No,
a
that I don't
bluegrass band that did a whole album of Michael Jackson covers bluegrass style,
What?
oh yeah,
and
you know,
it's amazing. I want
Yeah.
to say Honey something. I could be wrong though. I'm kind of.
but they are. They're they're being progressive. They're taking, rock and roll songs and turning them into bluegrass songs.
Oh, I've even seen a
It's
lot of
just
like cool
fantastic.
hip hop songs turned into
Into
bluegrass.
bluegrass. Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
remember who does
Yeah.
it, but somewhere on my phone I have a cover of Apple Bottom Jeans in bluegrass.
Oh yeah,
amazing.
and it's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, back to the questions.
Okay, questions.
Would you rather have a rich friend or a loyal friend?
Loyal,
Well done. Marvel or DC Comics?
Marvel.
Standard.
Do you have a favorite comic book hero?
Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know.
Great answer.
Great answer. Great answer.
Woo! Phew, I'm still alive. Yeah.
You beat us up. Cornhole or ladder ball
Cornhole.
or horseshoes? I already said it.
Oh, yeah. I like horseshoes too. Oh shit.
I haven't played horseshoes since like grade school.
Right. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Are you a? Oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We'll cut it out. Are you a board game or video game guy? Which I feel like it's self-explanatory.
Well,
Unless you're just playing Xbox all day.
no, I don't do any TV. Maybe a board game. Probably neither.
On the phone?
No.
You got Solitaire on there?
Yeah, but I don't do any
Ski
of that.
free?
No,
Oh,
there's
okay.
too much other good stuff to do out in the woods.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
So
you
that
know.
answers the next question is pretty much beach or mountains.
Oh, mountains.
Based off the conversation so far,
Yeah.
that kind of seemed like a
Oh, yeah.
no-brainer.
Skiing or snowboarding?
Skiing.
Okay, here's a fun one. Choose a superpower, whatever it may be. You get one, though.
Man. Let's see.
I love this question because no superhero ever has chosen their superpower.
I would say to be able to get everybody to get along.
That's a good superpower. That's a
That
good
would be a good
superpower.
one. What good uses on
Just
that,
think
too?
what would happen to the Congress, if I could do that. And they could get along and listen to each other and, and come to anyways.
You're
No,
absolutely
that's-
right. I
that blew
totally
my mind.
agree.
Wow.
80s or 90s?
80s.
All right.
He didn't like that one.
It's a great. There's a wrong answer
It
there.
really
They're both
isn't.
two of the most ridiculous fun decades of
Yeah,
America.
they,
as far as
they
I
are.
think.
Very
yeah.
true.
I'm just a 90s kid, so
Yeah.
That's what we grew up in, right?
lean toward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
French fries or tater tots?
French fries.
What kind of French fries?
We went to Australia, and French fries were, oh man, whenever you'd go by a restaurant with tables on the outside, everybody was eating, French fries.
With the gravy?
Chips. No, just I think they called them chips there, and dipped it in ketchup, and yeah, just like we do.
Beautiful.
When I was in Australia, they kept feeding me gravy fries.
Huh.
Really?
Everywhere
I don't
went.
know if I
Yeah,
ever
like,
saw that.
Here you go. And I was like, I'll take it. This is delicious.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
never been to
it sounds good.
Australia.
Oh, it's
I
quite
love,
amazing.
Yeah, I love potatoes and gravy. So
Would you rather receive a gift or have an experience?
I am not into the consumerism stuff. I would rather have an experience. Yeah, for sure.
would you rather, or do you like the texture of fuzzy or smooth, or also bubble wrap? What do you like touching more?
Yeah. Is bubble wrap one of them?
It is now, yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to just crack that bubble
Can't
wrap
pop
and
that,
just.
though. That
You
was a-
can't
yeah,
pop
no,
it,
I'm
just
kidding.
feel
You
it.
You do what you want, yeah.
Oh, well, then I don't want to do that. I have to feel a bubble wrap.
So now they're trying to make unpoppable bubble wrap. So I deal with a lot of logistics in my job, and it's like just these giant. It's still poppable.
Is
I
it
figured out how to
Kevlar?
do it. You just got to kind of twist it a little bit
Oh.
more. I can get anything to pop.
But none of like the straight popping.
You can't do the traditional poppy, which is a little less satisfying.
Yeah.
But overall, but when it says it's unpoppable and you get that mofo to pop, you're like,
Yeah, I did it. Yeah.
You went on their website, like popped it.
popped it, bitch.
Well, if I can't pop it, I'd go smooth.
Are you a morning person or a night person?
Oh man, I am so morning, almost to the extreme morning.
All right.
Really? What time do you
Yeah.
normally wake up?
5:15,
Fuck that.
Yeah,
Sir, what are you doing?
5:30.
You're just doing things in your life.
and I love it. I love being by myself. It's quiet. I can read the paper. I can read read a book, part of my book. I can make a great breakfast. And
The air still
and,
feels so clean and crisp then too.
and then the sun comes up.
Yeah.
Ah, you see that fire sun coming up on the horizon, a little smoke making it just bright red, and it's just the way to go.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You have to do some chores. You're splitting it up. Are you doing yard work or housework?
Yard work.
Easily. Come on now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, there's something so satisfying. Like, I was complaining that before about like taking too long to do my lawn, and then you do, and afterwards you're just like, that's right. That's like one of my favorite memes online. It's just a standard picture of, Mr. Perfect from old school WWF back in the day, old Kurt Anning. May he rest in peace. Just doing his power pose, and it's like dads after they get done mowing the lawn.
Yeah.
Just like, I feel you.
Yeah.
I
That's
feel
me.
you.
Hands at the hip, just like a superhero.
Ninjas or pirates?
Pirates.
Ooh, no hesitation on that one. Is
Yeah.
it because of the rum?
Yeah, partly the rum. Yeah. Yeah, and just the treasure, man. Treasure hunting. Yeah.
I would. That's like a dream of mine, is to be able to just like go deep sea treasure hunting. How
Yeah.
cool would that be?
Yeah. Ninja's pretty cool too, though.
That's true.
That was a hard one for me. I know I said pirates really right off the bat, but I've always loved pirates. That's what I was for Halloween, half the time. So,
There you go. Two of the best Halloween costumes ever. Timeless.
You
Classic.
always have that one Halloween costume you go to, though. The one you always have in
Yeah.
your closet.
yeah. Yeah, pirate for
All
me.
right. Since the conversation's going so well, I'll ask it. Top or bottom?
Ooh. For me, top. Yeah.
I skipped over that question.
Again, that was Will.
No,
think-
it's okay. Yeah.
I think we'll
Life
end on
is
that
life.
one.
You're a manly man.
Absolutely. All right, let's get back into it. So, one more cider.
Oh.
All right,
You guys
so
are gonna be.
This is
oh my
the winner, the one we've all been waiting on here. The foreshadowing from earlier. 2 adventures, big and small. The Speakeasy Barrel Age series. That's as much as I'll tell the people. The rest is now up to you, Mr.
Yeah.
Gig.
Okay, so I first made this for an event that we were having called Repeal Day, and we've had it now every year since we've been there on Chinden Boulevard. But it's a speakeasy, and it is a bourbon barrel-aged cider. But when we put our fermented cider in the barrel, we added additional apple concentrate to bring up the ABV. And so it went from a 6.9 to an 11% alcohol, and it stayed in the barrel. It depends. It stayed in the barrel for our newly poured barrels about 6 months. And if we use that barrel a second time for the Speakeasy, it's usually in there for about 9 months. But But if you like bourbon,
That's such a great name to
it
speak
is
easy on
just
Prohibition Day.
it is just
Or
a
repeal day.
sipper. You know, I mean, you can drink so much more of it than if you had a bourbon in front of you, just a straight 43%, let's say, bourbon, and this is only 11%. Let's see, 11. You can have 4 times as much of this stuff as a straight up bourbon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, you know, you can spend more time with your friends drinking and sipping.
Oh, wow.
It's just one of my favorite barrel aged ciders that we make.
One of them. All right. So you guys are into the barrel aging, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we've had a barrel that was donated by Bardonnay, and a rum barrel, and we just made a Let's Go to the Beach cider in that rum barrel. It was in that rum barrel for about 5 or 6 months, and it's got a little pineapple in it, sort of to give it that kind of tropics thing, and oh man, that turned out pretty darn well too. And that's called Let's Go to the Beach. We've made a let's see, a tequila. We have had a tequila barrel, and sort of made it into kind of a margarita type.
What kind of tequila?
What?
Now you're speaking
you
my
know,
language.
You know what? It never said. On the barrel, it just says tequila.
Okay.
So I don't know what kind. And we've had a port barrel.
That had to be
and
sweet.
that was delicious. It imparted a beautiful color to the cider. We've done I'm trying to think of the other. Let's see, the rum, tequila, port, bourbon, and what was that one? Kate thought of this. It was a barrel. It was a barrel that we made for Treeford, and man, it's a Mexican. You guys have to help me. It's a Mexican drink. I'm having space in it
Mezcal?
here. That I think it starts with an M. Oh, listen to this. And it's made out of all kinds of chilies. It's a dinner. It's a food that you eat, made out of a bazillion different kinds of chilies. Oh, come on.
Not mole. I know.
Yeah, mole.
Mole.
A
Yeah.
mole.
there you go.
Yeah, it was a
There we
mole
go.
cider.
Yes. The New Mexican in me brought it
That
out.
was just to die for. It was so good. Yeah, you win on that one. Yeah. So, I'll give you a couple points on that one. Yeah.
Hope y'all keeping track.
So, anyways, it's been the barrel age program's been just fantastic. Yeah, we've had a lot of fun. We've done a Bass style cider where we got apples from Sims Orchard out on Sunny Slope and brought them back in an open bin so that the wild yeast could get on the apples, and there's already yeast on all apple skins anyways. Crushed, pressed it, left it in an open bin. So when it fermented, it was all wild yeast. We added no yeast to it. And then we put it in a barrel, and that's basically what they do when they're making, a Bass style type cider. And you never know if the yeast is
Really?
going to be a good yeast or not.
So is it similar to like what's the Basque white wine? Chocolina?
Oh, kind of.
Kinda?
Yeah, kind of.
I'm really impressed with myself. I just pulled that out.
Yeah, this has a little bit of a, yeah.
It's another point.
Yeah, another point. God, you're racking them up. So, it's got a little bit of a vinegary taste to it, and some of those can be really nasty, really manure-like almost, But this one, the one that turned out really well. The last one that we did. So, we were lucky. I guess the Garden City Sunny Slope yeast did a good job for us.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
This barrel age is fantastic.
Oh, I love this.
I've seen it around. I haven't picked it up yet. I really enjoy bourbon. I pretty much drink 3 types of liquor: tequila. Okay, 4 types of liquor: tequila, more tequila, whiskey, and bourbon. And this is phenomenal. You get that bourbon. It's really there in the smell. You get it in the taste, but not, to your point, like drinking a 43%.
Yeah, yeah.
It changes the color a little bit, too.
Oh, yeah,
I
it's
think a little
darker.
bit darker. I wish I had the
Yeah.
previous one to compare it to.
Yeah, real dark gold.
This is phenomenal.
Isn't that great?
It really is.
I just
oh
love
my gosh! Like, because sometimes if it's aged in, like, you can get, say, bourbon barrel aged stout
Yeah.
or something like that, and a lot of times those can be too bourbony and almost fusel
Yeah.
alcohol. This
Yeah.
is not. The balance in this. Oh,
Yeah.
well
Yeah.
done.
Cider takes on those barrel flavors really well, especially bourbon. We found, and it's strong, and we didn't add any bourbon to this. Is just plain cider with whatever was impregnated into that barrel
Yeah,
from the bourbon.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
This is actually the most overall pleasing drink of the night. This is my drink of the night. Actually.
Yeah, yeah.
I might agree. I
it's
think
my
I found a new
favorite.
favorite over the blackberry.
Yeah.
Actually, because it doesn't like. I really like the blackberry, but it's really sweet, and so it's one of those like I'm gonna drink, probably a pint, 16 ounces or something,
Yeah.
and then move on. This one I'm drinking till I stand up and fall over
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
did
yeah.
not realize the effects.
It will,
that
it will catch up with you. It does have that little sweetness. I mean, some bourbons like Pendleton has a little bit of sweetness to it, and then you can get a bourbon that is a little bit drier, maybe like Basil Hayden's a little bit sweet too, but you can find those bourbons that are drier. This is like a sweet bourbon.
It is like I'm almost feeling and feel free to correct me if you don't agree, but like a JB's Devil's Cut on here, because that's a little bit of a sweeter kind of pressed bourbon, and I'm getting a little bit of that flavor
Yeah.
out of this one, which
yeah.
to me means
Yeah.
it's damn good.
Yeah, I like it too. It's dangerous because you can just keep sipping on it and loving it, and you just got to.
If I were to smell it, I'd believe it was 11%. Maybe, because you get a little bit of that alcohol, but if I were to taste it and you were to tell me it's 11%, I'd be like, you damned liar.
Yeah,
It's the easiest mouthfeel.
Yeah.
It's just continually. It's sessionable. It's quite delightful, sir.
And kind of like the gin and juice, there's that aftermouth feel and that taste in your mouth lasts for quite a while. I mean,
There's no bite though.
And there's no bite.
Yeah.
No bite. Yeah. Agreed.
What a strong cider to end on, both
Ah.
literally and
Yeah.
also figuratively. So our friend Stacy was kind of the one that introduced us here. So she does a lot of great things. Remember at the lounge there, a Buddy Hub. I would assume that you guys do something with Boise Beer Buddies, or is she just that cool that she's hooking us up anyways?
We have always, the minute that Stacy started this whole Beer Buddies thing, we were in. We knew that she was doing a cool thing. She was working 2 jobs, working her butt off on this thing, and helping us out. I mean, we're looking for an assistant cider maker right now, and she just for free said, "Oh no, you're part of our Beer Buddy Hubs. I'll put that on. I'll just put that on for you, And I'm trying to sell a tank, and she goes, "Oh no, I'll just put that on." And she just is always there to help, and great lady.
She really is. We were working pretty hard on this series, and then we finally got Stacy to be on it, and all of a sudden we had to work a lot less because she was just like, "Are you open next Monday? Cool, I got this person for you." And I'm just like,
Yeah, she's
"What
great.
a badass!" Like she
Yeah.
really is the coolest. What do you? So if I show up with the Boise Beer Buddy card, or rather I say, when I show up with the Boise Beer Buddy card, what are the advantages?
I
of
think
that?
it's $1 off a pint.
$1 off first
Yeah.
pint. Cool.
Yeah.
As well,
Yeah.
it should be.
Yeah.
Excellent. So huge shouts to Stacy.
Yeah.
She's super awesome.
Yeah.
Where can we find you on the social medias?
Okay, if you go to Meriwether Cider, my younger daughter Molly, does all of our social media stuff, and has got a great website. It would be under Meriwether Cider. You can then go to Facebook. Oh my gosh, all Instagram. I mean, everything. We have a thing on there called Dogs of Meriwether, where all the dogs that come in, they get their picture taken, and so they're on there and real cute little pictures.
I'll have
And
to bring my pooches in.
yeah,
They're
so
beautiful.
so that's pretty much where you can find out what's going on, what's the new Kick the Keg for the week. We have a cider clubs that you can join if you want to, and yeah. So we have every week we walk or run a trail or mountain bike a trail, and so we put that up for the trail of the week for people to try.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and talk about it. So anyways, yeah. So
That's awesome. A lot of our followers are outdoorsy and dog people, so that's going to be huge.
yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about the Cider Club. Is that specifically through Meriwether, like a membership thing that you do?
Yeah, it's just like if you joined a wine club. We have 3 different cider clubs you can join. You know, if you want to go real big and, you know, get 2 cases a year or something, or you can, and then there's all kinds of, I'm not very good at this. I just make the cider and do as I'm told. But the clubs really are, but the clubs are a good deal. Like, you know, we always try in the allotments that we give to have some kind of a really good barrel-aged cider, a good 750 ml bottle cider that we sponsor the Shakespeare Festival. And we did there's a play, you know, Unto the Beach, and we made a cider called Unto the Peach, and it was a peach cider, you know, that we did. And so that usually goes into the allotment, and then with maybe some of the newer ones or some of the seasonals that we do. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And I just want to throw this out there. I was at work early today before this, and I was talking to my reps, or one of them, and a lot of them will kind of ask me what to drink because of this. And I was like, yeah, do you like ciders? And she was like, no. I like Meriwether, though. And I was like, convenient. So I'm just saying, man, you guys break that boundary with a lot of people that don't even like them. So you're definitely doing something special. So I think you should take some pride in that.
Well, I sure appreciate that.
Yeah. And I'm not making that up. That really happened earlier today.
Yeah, you know, a funky thing happened to me. We were in the Olympic Peninsula, I told you. We took a little vacation out there, and we were in a place called Long Beach, and there's a North Jetty Brewery there. We stopped in for a beer, and I had a Meriwether thing on, and then I noticed that they had a cider on, a Marionberry cider. And I go, wow, how's that Marionberry cider? Is that pretty decent? And she goes, yeah, it's okay, but I see that you've been to Meriwether. Nothing beats Meriwether. You know, and I'm like, I am in Washington. I'm talking to some lady, I don't even know. She goes, yeah, well, my parents live there, and every time I go back there, I always go to Meriwether, and I always bring back a case. And I'm going, man, I'm the owner and the cider maker. And she goes, no, these beers are on the house. You know?
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that was kind of fun.
Just
that was
chest pumped up. So like,
well,
that's right.
I
That's
know.
amazing.
It was really fun, and she was such a neat lady, you know, and stuff, and their beer was really great. North, I just picked myself up, but North Jetty Brewery, great beer.
Excellent. Shouts to
there you
those
go.
guys then.
Shout out.
All right, so since we're sort of wrapping up, one thing that I always look forward to, especially with someone of your wisdom and knowledge and life experience, Stacy said you were a cool dude. She didn't say you were this much of like a true badass.
The man.
So we got to ask. We always ask for a parting gift, something that you would like to bestow upon the brew crew here, whether it's you're doing something, maybe an event that you think people should join, watching something, reading something that they should do, or maybe just a general bit of life advice or philosophy that you like to live by that you think is important to share with the world.
Woo!
It's one of the toughest ones. I love
Yeah,
it.
it is. That's a tough one, and lately with what's going on, we got elections coming up. We've got this COVID-19 going on, and I've always been a people person. Love being around people, talking to people. My philosophy has always been that I am no better than anybody else. If the shit hit the fan. I would go to a street person that had been living on the street, making it through. I mean, I would depend on them. And so I don't look at myself as any better than anybody else. And I think if more people would look at themselves as equals to everybody else, I think the world would be a better place.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Well, I mean, we can't thank you enough for coming on, giving us your time, allowing us to drink these absolutely phenomenal ciders. We have one thing I will say, we have a few beautiful tulip glasses here. Not 3 lips, not 1 lips, tulip glasses, and some stickers. We'll do a little bit of a giveaway. You got to make sure you follow the lounge, Brewnomics, Meriwether, and we'll do something on Facebook. You guys know the thing. Tag a friend, do a person. Maybe you can win yourself a nice little pair of tulips here. But again, we appreciate you so much. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, I just appreciate you guys letting me enjoy this evening, making new friends. I'm going to go and make a new cider. I'm going to the market, and I'm getting that fruit, and I'm going for it.
Pick up a durian.
Durian.
Yeah. So
we will be the first in line for that.
Okay.
No matter
All
how
right.
it turns
Okay,
out,
okay.
we will be the first in line by that.
and I'll save you a bottle if it doesn't sell well.
Well,
Well, thank you.
we'll see who. But it's one of those ones that I think it's a weird enough fruit that people are gonna be like, all right, let's do it.
I'll do it. Okay.
So yeah, we thank you so much, Gig. Again, it's been a huge pleasure. Go check out Meriwether Cider, either downtown 9th and Bannock or down on Chinden in Garden City. Make sure you follow Lounge at the End of the Universe, all things social media. Go to loungeboise.com/shop for your growler fills. Use the discount code Brewnomics, $5 off a growler. We highly recommend either the ginger or the blackberry boom. Check out their GoFundMe page, project name #SaveTheLounge. Look forward to all the fun open mics they do on Wednesday, and look forward to a fun live taping and drink along with Brewnomics come this October. So as long as you're allowed, we're going to have these people in. You're going to drink with us. It's going to be a fun little live podcast. So we should have a blast. Wear your masks. Until next time, Gig, thank you so much. I'm Jerry.
Paula.
All right. Thank you so much.
Indeed. Cheers.
Thank you.
All right.